Good afternoon, all of you. So, as we already discussed the language syntax or programming language syntax in last class. So, if anyone has any doubts, do raise your doubts. Today, we're going to discuss language translation issues. So, the language translation issues is nothing but the translation from one format to another format. So here we will discuss the common language translation issues and the impact for the communication. Here the communication is machine oriented, not the person oriented. If we take the example for compiler who compile a particular language, then it provide it to the operating system, then operating system again provide it to the compiler, then to the hardware. So there are two or three way type of communication like software to hardware, hardware to um, again software, then again software to software such as operating system and compiler and interpreter. So we'll see the effect of this language translation or issues in this way. So before starting, I am Ashish. As you know, I have the specialization in data security with the 17 years of experience and 8 different papers published in different journals. So moving towards the topic, today we'll cover going to cover the analysis of source program, why it is required, and analysis of object program, what is the need of this, then how this source program and object program translate into a particular version of a code that we need to know from this formal translation model. We can say that this formal translation model is nothing but the automation theory or automata that you already studied in your previous semesters. Okay, so moving to the main topic, let's have the discussion of language translation issues. So moving to the introduction, here we need to know what are the type of translation issues and how definition uh, and importance of this computer language translation. Here there is a image of a dictionary, the dictionary having words in alphabetical order A to Z. So here we are getting the words as well as the phonetically pronunciation along with the meaning of this particular word. So on that way we can translate that particular word or particular language into another language. So forming or analyzing the one particular translation, we need to analyze the source program. So the source program, this is nothing but the actual coding or actual language where a particular code has been written, and the particular environment it provides or the user get from the IDE or from the operating system by which the source program can be converted into another object program or another conversion language. So it is the starting point of the SDLC cycle or software development process. In that software development process, what actually happened? In that process, it contains logic and instruction and define how the software could behave. Once the software code is written, it can be compiled, interpreted, generate an executable program that can run on a machine. If we take the example of a Java program, we just save the Java program in .java extension, and whenever we are compiling that Java file, it is converted into, or it generate a another file that is known as dot class. So there is a dot Java file and there is a dot class file. So dot Java file actually contains the source program or source code, but the dot class file actually contains the bytecode, or what we call as the code which make the Java program secure, or most stronger or security point of view it is needed. So as per the definition, a source program is a collection of instructions written in a programming language, and it serves as the input to a compiler or interpreter which translates the source code into machine code, and that can be executed by a computer. Then source program typically written in a language, of course, then that must be used to create applications, websites, other software systems. And there is no mandatory rule that a source code can be written on a particular language only. It can be written in any such language such as Java, Python, C++, etc. Why it is not mandatory? Because we need a particular translation model by which the language can be translated into a particular form. But the syntax of that particular language that can be different, that can have their own syntax and rules that dictate how the instruction should be written. Then we analyze the object program. As per all of, as per the programming concern, or the language by which you can do programming, the coding part concern, all of you know that what is an object. Object is nothing but it is an instance of a class. Class is nothing but it is a user defined data type, or it is a block of code defined by the user by which we can create an variable or object of that particular class, which is known as object, and that object can be accessed, or that object can access different other data of the class. So an object program is the machine code representation of a high level programming language program. It created by a compiler or an assembler, or consists of executable instruction that can be directly executed by the computer's hardware. So whenever the synthesis of this object program carried out, we need to find out some key point and object program. Of course, you know that objects are the instance of the class. The object program are generated from the source code through the process of compilation or assembly. For example, as we already discussed in Java, we compiled the source code, and the source code, after compilation, it creates some bytecode. Then they contain machine code instruction that can be executed by the computer. So whenever the class file has been generated, the class file contains the bytecode, and that bytecode is nothing but the machine code instruction, or the binary code. Object program are specific to the target hardware. Now these are some architecture related to things that we have already discussed in impact in the second lecture. So for example, if you want to interact with a printer driver, then the object program are specific to the target hardware. Okay, so if the target hardware is a printer, we need a printer driver. If the target hardware is a display device, we need some display resolution and that compatibility. So they are essential for the execution of the software applications and systems. So the syntax error, it is a part of a program, as you see here. If we miss some brackets here, that is also a syntax error. If we miss some parentheses, incorrect punctuation, symbols or keywords. So we have already discussed about the syntax error and semantics. Why the syntax error and semantics, these are important with corresponding to this translation, because we need to use the different model. Now what is the model? This formal model is nothing but it is the mathematical representation or description of a system, process or concept. It provides a precise structure framework for analyzing and understanding the behavior of a properties of the subject matter. If we understand this in a broad manner, see, let's take a model, waterfall model. So if you look the waterfall model of SDLC cycle or SDLC framework, it looks like somehow like this, 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 and each and every jumps it denote a particular phase. Yes. So this formal translation model, it is nothing but the automata theory, or it is the state transition model what you have already studied in automata language in your last semester. Now what is the benefit? The benefit is, including computer system, it represents everything in mathematical form, so there is a easy of validation of system and we can get the potential errors as it is the mathematical model. And it also facilitates some features to the end users. End users means those who did not develop that particular thing but use that thing. and it also provide some framework for redevelopment of that particular uh, language. Now, what is the redevelopment? What is the redevelopment? The redevelopment is nothing but the versions. These are nothing but the versions what is available for a particular application or particular program or a particular language. Why? Okay. So this formal translation model, they are using different semantic errors such as incorrect variable types name, logical errors, program flaws, misuse functions and method to get this translation done smoothly and in a far manner. Then this language translation is provided with some tools. That tools had some limitations. When this language translation translate the language from one particular version to another thing like high level to machine level, low level to machine level, assembly level, then binary coding. So it has some performance issues. It can work very good for programming in C, whereas in the same it is not work good for Java or Python. So it has some performance issue. It has inability to accurately interpret complex code, lack of support for specific features or libraries. These are the limitations, or you can say these are the disadvantages or significance of these transition tools. Then, then we see what is the code compatibility issue. As you already see, we have uh, seen the translation from one model to another model or one form to another form. So we need some updates in language that build some errors and some compatibility issue with the versions. So these code compatibility issues occur when software or hardware components are not designed to work well with each other or with the operating system. So these also occur in differences in syntax and functionality between programming language or incompatibility with older version of language. If we take the example, if we use a lower version of Java installed on our system, then we are not getting, then it will be difficult for the user to run all the features of that particular program on that particular system. So in incompatibilities issues dealt with more for the versions rather than translations. Yes, of course, it create problem if we create the source code with a particular version and we try to compile it in the another version of that particular interpreter, then it will create problem, and the issue what we are getting that cannot be solved on that particular form, because it is designed in a lower version and we are getting compatibility issue in higher version. So that must be solved on a um, design time version, or the source code version where on that it will be designed. Next is how it is affecting the cultural and linguistic challenge. So this is somehow the literal language things. When we code a particular program, when we got the source code, when we design it for the object, when we got the synthesis of the objects, and when we got the 7 pages of that compiler design, lexical analysis, then analytical analysis, after getting all this thing, what are the challenges we are getting for a software system for the uh, development end as a language barrier? These are the challenges what we are getting right now. For example, for web-based application, we mostly need some web based programming language such as JavaScript, nowadays Angular JS, and Python we can use for web-based application. That must need a particular standard to be maintained, by which that linguistic challenges on a particular framework or particular format cannot be exist during the translation. So translation of coding standard and variable name. Then understanding the cultural difference. Here cultural difference means the environment by which that particular code has been written or developed. That must not be destroyed, and that must be provided in comment how to run that particular uh, code designed on a basis of particular platform and particular functionalities. Then of course debugging and testing after designing that particular framework. Here we say it is the framework. We need to debug it and test it how it is running and how it is compatible with the things that what we need and how the goal has been achieved. We have to test that particular thing in different language environment, compatibility testing with multiple compiler and interpreter. After that, debugging or testing, or what we called as compatibility testing, we can able to know that the particular translation how it is going to perform and how what are the optimizations for this particular translation, how this translation model can be worked. Okay, if we say the testing system for the softwares or the testing tools, then will get the software list by which testing can be done. No doubt we'll get the software list, but what is actually done by that software? The software is doing the testing page work. This one page is testing page from that 7 page. So testing page work, and that testing page work test the compatibility testing. So there are different types of testing tools such as static test tools who actually analyze the flow of the code, flow analyzer and path test, how it is going. Then dynamic text tool, that test driver, test beds, emulators. What is emulators? Emulators provide the facility for which the language has been translated and for which the user uses that particular language to be mm, define that product or manufacture that particular service. Out of this, in this particular phase, debugging and testing, test management tools has been implemented. Nowadays it is Jira, RedTime and Selenium. Then automated testing tool, for example Appium, Cucumber, etc. Then performance testing tool such as Webload, Apache, JMeter, and cross-browser testing tools. Cross-browser you already know, Test Sigma, Test Team, and Perfecto. Integrated testing tool such as Citrus, and unit testing tool such as PHP Unit. And mobile testing tool Appium, Robotium, Test.io. And GUI testing tools is Squeeze, Auto IT. Then bug cracking tools. This what it is written in bug testing tools. This is one type of error testing or error how error is found in a particular flow or where it is found. So we can say that Jira also doing that same thing. And at the last, we're provided by security testing tools. These particular testing tools provide the performance optimization. To carry out this performance optimization, the testing tools create some log file and create a report, test report. That test report is benchmarking or profiling translation results. कहाँ पे कौन सा गलती हो रहा है इस पर्टिकुलर इनकम्पैटिबिलिटी की वजह से what is the um, how the result is going to be impact, ये सारा रिपोर्ट वहाँ पे जनरेट होता है. And वो जो रिपोर्ट जनरेट होता है that report can be sent to the developer at the developer end to rectify all these things so that optimization can be improved. Second one is translation overhead and interfaces. Translation overhead and inefficacies. During the translation, what is the things that is needed for improving the optimization, and what are the things that must be included in the translation or in the code to get that particular translation to be more optimized. Because whenever we try to develop a particular language, that language must be perform good enough to work on particular platform, that must be optimized. Now, what are the best practices for translation? Thorough code review, then peer testing, strictly analyzing the each and each line of code, then using language agnostic coding practice, write clear and concise code comments. This already you know and we have already discussed. So finally, in conclusion, we see that when we need to perform a particular translation from one state to another state, rather telling it in a programming translation, we tell that now it is a translation of one state to another state. It is quite important to address the issues whatever comes on the testing phase, then summarize the translation issues what we are getting at the time of debugging it, implementing on a particular profilation, impact, or implementing on a particular um, platform. Okay. So this can be provided a particular summary to the translation of this softwares, translation of this language on a particular platform, on a particular architecture, on a particular addressing issues, on a particular test bed, and a particular testing and bugging. So this is all about your language translation issues in today's class. If you have any doubts or any things, you can refer to book or you can revert back to me. And this particular class is related to your previous syntax class, so that you can able to understand all these things. Okay, hope you understand. If any doubts, do revert back to me, and don't forget to appear the quiz which will be activated exactly after 1 hour of the class, and you will provided time of 20 minutes to appear the quiz. All the best of luck, bye bye.